Hey, YouTube boys and girls. We are PTG. I am Lucky Sixes. This up here is Hyper-G.
Other wine gums are available.
They absolutely are. Um, and
We're going to be
while
chewing for the first
I,
5
I hope
minutes.
you have some wine gums because we're here to talk about vermin swarms.
Mm. Or Vermin Swarm.
A swarm, yeah. Was it here? Look at the title of them. Yeah, never mind. We are here to talk about the rats, the rat men, and all of their filthiness,
Ratty goodness.
ratty goodness, filthiness, whatever.
Mm.
I hope you've seen all the other videos and been keeping up. And as always, we say as a disclaimer, we will go through this as quickly as possible in our that we can. But
This one's going to be our swiftest yet.
swiftest yet. Like the rat, we'll go in and out.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I don't know. Moving on. So, the first thing in the Vermin Swarm army, we'll go through just the changes.
Of course.
If it plays the same, it plays the same. We don't need to update you on that. But the Tunnel Reserve.
It's just a special ambush now. Brilliant.
Yeah, so
love it.
As we spoke about with the rulebook changes and all that jazz, and all the extra additions they've added in there, this is just going in with that. So it makes it proper simple to understand. If you get that rule, you understand. So basically, special ambush encompasses all the different types of ambushing that aren't your standard ambush.
Yeah,
this one is
the brackets is just where it's from, which is awesome. Is
tunnel marker. Really simple. So you get that's what the tunnel markers, which is explained as before and works the same. That's what it is. So really simple for newbies and people that don't know it. Born into Battle is gone, but that's been replaced by exclusive, I would imagine.
Pretty much, yeah.
So again, another rule that's rulebook orientated from that point of view. Callus works the same. Eagle Standard works the same.
Yeah.
Holy Triumvirate was called something different.
No, I don't think it was in this section of the book.
Right.
Before.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was in with the casters, the priests.
Sure.
But it's such a big thing in this building that it warranted going earlier on, I think.
Yeah.
But effectively, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, it still works the same. So they're upgraded, degraded things. Yeah. So if you're an apprentice, you can choose more spells. Apprentice and adept, you can choose more spells than normal, basically. Without number is been taken away in terms of the rules point of view. But I think
it has. It has been completely taken away because it used to allow you to have a unit of slaves die and then be replaced with a unit of legionaries. I think that mechanic was possibly just a bit too easy to abuse.
Sure.
Not abuse in a like you're cheating way, but in a that's quite a really good mechanic to get working in a battle. So they've just scrubbed it, which is fine.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, that makes it easier. So
it's unnecessary. They've got enough tricks as it is.
It's very true. The mishap rule has been unified so that all of the mishaps from the Trial and Terror have this consequence.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. And the same goes with Trial and Terror, really. Yes. They're kind of like they're paired on the shooting weapons that they're on.
Yeah.
And I think
Trial and Terror, as a rule for all of them, is +1 to wound. And if you do it, you go on a standard mishap table rather than different ones depending on what you are, I think. So was that happened?
Yeah, possibly. It's a complicated one. But effectively it means that each shooting weapon doesn't have to have a paragraph listed after it because they all refer to this rule.
Which is what you'll see when I scroll down.
The way to go.
There's literally just taking away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Giselles have a 4+ to that mishap from that point of view, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they become paragraphs to sentences, basically, is what they're doing there.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the other ones, other videos that we've done, that is a common theme throughout most of the books, is that the complexity and the text amount is trying to be reduced where possible.
Yeah.
And which takes us all the way to the hereditary, actually. Straight away from that. So there's a bit of a communal unity in the Trial and Terror and stuff. And then Awakens Swarm works the same.
Yeah, it's taken the bit out about the Endless Tide in terms of like the cover that it doesn't offer, etc. Because it's a skirmisher now. It's a single model, but it's a skirmisher.
Yes.
So skirmishers can't give cover
by rule.
It's cleared it up. Instead of a sentence, it's just tagged on skirmisher. Skirmisher will be no benefit to them, but it does clarify the rule it's taken out. So it's great.
For sure.
Another sensible change.
Yeah, which is so you won't hear us saying too many good things about the Vermin book. So well done. I think at that point. So special items. I really like this first one in Secrets of the Doomblade. It's got cheaper. I love this. I love everything about the Doomblade anyway. But the fact that you cannot take other special items, I think, is really like a cool, because it was really 160 points anyway. But it's like I am
one with my blade, and my blade is I. Yeah,
absolutely. So
that's all I'm about.
Not necessarily in the mechanical sense, because obviously having 40 points extra to put stuff would be better. But I like that this is like a thing. I think this is a real good attempt at fluffiness and engagement that way, sort of thing. So I well done on that.
It's better than just like adding on an extra paragraph with something it's silly.
Yeah, I would love it if everyone had a weapon
that was 160
their
points.
Well, 160 or any, but had the wielder cannot take any other special items. I think that
sure. Yeah.
As an army thing, everyone have a weapon, like a special weapon. The Doomblade is I think
most of them do anyway, but but not with that rule.
That rule, I think that's if that could pave the way for other items. I think that would be cool, man.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, that would be brilliant in my opinion. But yeah. So Storm Rocket.
Yeah, weird. I mean, I don't know what the other one did. Is it new?
I've got a feeling this is new.
Yeah, it is new. I was just about to say.
Addition to the thing. We obviously know the Storm Rocket from traditional times.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's from a weapon or something like that. But either way, it's a flaming attacks pistol with volley fire and mishap.
So I think the Storm Rocket was in there before, but it's now been moved to a pistol enchantment.
Did it used to be an artifact? Yes, it did.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So it used
now
to be
just a pistol.
So it's 10
upgrade.
points more expensive, and it's moved over to the weapons section.
Yeah, and it's
also D6 hits rather than area attack.
Yeah, with strength 5 AP2.
So arguably worse in that sense, because it was 3x3, so you get 6 auto hits if you went against the right thing. But then it's better against single models. So interesting thing, and it's now a pistol as well. So been moved basically is the biggest thing. They've gained an extra one, kinda. We won't mention the change to Swarm Master because it's not a change. Magic attacks leaving. So there you go.
You did so well. You got to your third item without going into it.
No, yeah. Same with Rodentine Bullets,
which is the best named item in the whole game.
It's nearly as good as Complexify, isn't it? But
Decomplexify.
Armor enchantments. The Plague Hermit's Blessing.
It's just added in models on foot.
Yeah.
Just added in completely. They're having a bit of a Dread Elves moment.
Yeah. And they move on to the banner enchantments, and 55 points, same. 40 points gone down for the bell. And obviously the ambush stuff is gone, so it's now a sentence rather than one of the biggest paragraphs in the book. But Banner of the Last Storm is gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Gone. Not even just moved. Gone.
No. Forget it.
That's a bit of a legacy thing. that's been in there for
Lightning banner or whatever
different
it was.
ways and different versions, but now it's gone. So interesting. If you're a Vermin Swarm player, let us know if that's a really big loss, because seems niche-ish. It was always good. So it was
how
cheap.
Much do you miss it?
Yeah, how much will you miss it in actual fact? And moving on to artifacts, Crown of Hubris. I quite like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one that's been simplified.
Well, and it's 3 hits rather than D6.
Yeah.
So, I quite like it.
Yeah, I mean, it says you have to do it at the start of any friendly magic phase instead of in any friendly magic phase, which I think is probably safer as well.
Yeah. No, just saying it at that point. So, but yeah, I like it. It's got more expensive though. So I guess for the stapleness of it, it's got more expensive. Map of the Deep has got doubled in price.
As it should have quadrupled. I cannot believe this is allowed. I am so angry.
Allowed in the game.
I'm so angry about this. This is horrible. This is, I mean, it probably bears more discussion when it comes to the Stygian Overseer.
Yes.
But this has switched around the fact that you can blow up your tunnel markers after moving them. Do you remember the game I had against Tony?
I do.
Where Tony was moving them and then blowing them up on my units. Now that's the rule. I cannot understand. 25 points to 50. Why is this not 200 points? You're getting 3 free comments.
What's the movement on it? So you can move within 24. You can move it 6.
Yeah.
All units within 6 of the marker suffer. No. So you will be able to, with the tunnel markers, move it 6, won't you? If you're within 6 inches, is that right? Of it?
What do you mean?
So you can detonate it if you're within 24, but how close to it do you need to be able to move it in the first place?
What do you mean move it in the first place? You don't. Oh, sorry, the Stygian Overseer. It's probably easier to talk about when we get to the Stygian Overseer, if I'm honest. So because that's the moving.
Basically, from this, not only can you move it,
but you can blow it up after you've moved it. That's the critical bit that you can. Yeah.
Which is why it's doubled in points, but we say not enough. Orb of Atius stayed the same in terms of points. You discard 1 fail token instead of 2 now, though. So that's good. And you gain range instead of +1 to wound, because for the most part you're getting +1 to wound anyway with all the new changes to Trial and Terror.
Yeah.
And stuff. So you increase your thing by 1 rather than D3 as well on the mishap. So slightly, if you use it, it's slightly more affected by that point of view. But otherwise, I quite like the change. Simpler.
Yeah.
Models on foot only and 0 to 2 for
now you can have it on your BSB and your general.
Yes.
I think that's fine. It's topical. I like it.
It's very ratty. Tomb of the Rat King is the same. Cowl of the Apostate has gone down in points.
Cheaper.
Yeah. So 10 points cheaper, and you have to choose it at the start of step 8, and you cannot take Crown of a Wizard King. So clearly there were some combos that they wanted to get out of there.
Stamp down on,
and last but not least, the Tyrannus Lyre has gained an extra 2 inches, and we could all do with an extra 2 inches. All right, so this is a good change.
All right, a comment.
Right, characters. Ruinous Dictator has stayed the same. It's got the Holy Triumphant, but that's just a rules thing at the start. It always counts as Calesian Pantheon. Otherwise, I can't see any other changes in it. No. So we are moving on from that. The Vermin Senator is exactly the same. So no mechanical change, no points change.
I find it's an interesting if available. Why wouldn't it be available?
The range of is it?
If you're shaken, or
I guess so.
suppose if you're fleeing, you don't have a
Yeah.
commanding presence anymore. That's why.
It makes sense in some
Yeah,
circles, I guess.
Yeah.
The blood for Legate has not changed either. So characters wise,
Great.
we're very 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 similar.
Yeah.
The House Prefect
Here we go.
got cheaper.
Here
80
we go.
points for a character is a bit
Oh,
crazy.
it's gone down 15 points as well. That's a real big
sweet.
reduction.
I mean, let's look at the changes offhand. It's gone down 15 points. Its defense and offense has gone up by 1 and 2 respectively. It's changed light armor for heavy armor and shield. So, I mean, for a 15-point drop, that's a lot of extra stuff it's got.
Boosts, yeah.
As standard. I can't see really where it loses out.
No, some of the weapons have been tweaked by, and the upgrades have been tweaked by 5 or 10 points here and there, but not to warrant a 15-point reduction, really.
Scorcher Alchemist gives a model's unit lightning reflexes, which it did anyway, but it takes away all the other stuff that goes along with it, basically. Stygian Overseer, which is probably, as we talked about, something.
No. We haven't finished talking about it yet.
Well, we started.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you dare scoot on, because this is horrible.
So let's read it out for out. Immediately.
Why am I so outraged?
Siphon the veil of each friendly magic phase. Each Stygian Overseer may move a single friendly tunnel marker within 6 inches that is not in contact with any unit. Move this marker in a straight line up to 6 inches. So you can move it.
So they do have to be pretty close to one to move it.
Yeah.
That is the only saving grace of it, because they have to be within 6 inches of one. So they can't be one that's on the other side.
No, you had to be anyway. No. You didn't have. You could be anywhere and move it.
Yeah.
So the biggest change, but between all of these things, is that you now have to be close to one to be able to move
in order to move it. Yes, but you can still detonate it afterwards, which you couldn't do before.
Yes.
So in this version, the opponent gets no chance to move away from it because you're doing it within your turn.
Yes.
But in order to trigger it, you have to have moved within 6 inches of a marker yourself. So it's not quite as much of an early game threat as the broken version could have been. But I still think this is like, I mean, the fact that you're getting 2d6 strength 4 hits from each one as well when it blows up.
Yeah.
That's like having 4 comets on the board.
Sylvans. See you later.
Yeah, I think this is just, I can't understand, and especially considering the points changes, like the House Prefect. If I'm a Vermin player, I will automatically take this now,
and
for the option to blow them up.
Yeah,
even if that's not part of my game plan as a whole overall army, having this in your back pocket is amazing.
So as a minimum, it's 130 points.
Yeah, because he's 50 points for the item, and then
20 points for the upgrade as well. So 150 points.
70, yeah. Yeah, 150, yeah. Right.
That's not bad, is it?
I'm outraged.
Outrage from this Stygian boys. But yeah, so the biggest changes are that basically. A few points, and he himself has got some extra buffs, so extra armor. Yeah, he's definitely a big winner. Definitely a big winner from this.
It's amazing.
The Swarm Priests.
Yeah, because vermin get to keep their priest.
They do. So it's bitterness we have. We've added blood pox blades. That's quite hard to say actually. To the Cult of Eraman. Whereas he didn't have before, so that is 10 points rather than 3. That's the only change with the Swarm Priest. Otherwise, he works exactly in the same manner. The Dusk Blade Assassin, whole load of text being taken out because he's now hidden instead of
which is
a
great.
Separate rule. So there you go.
And he still works out at 40 points cheaper than the Dread Elf version. But
yes,
another model I am terrified of in the Vermin army.
In terms of mounts, the Triumphant platform has attached an exclusive, but that's just a rulebooks unification stuff going on. Second platform has attached, and the Whispering Bell is just a Again,
Deafening
another
Glamour
rule.
I think. Yeah.
Yes, another rules change with Deafening Glamour rather than the extra musician talk.
Yeah. Interesting that the Aegis 6-up doesn't affect gigantic models and constructs though
anymore. So
yeah.
The
Arena Beast, I
Arena
guess.
Beast,
But it
and the
had fortitude
Dictator.
anyway.
Is the Dictator gigantic?
I would have thought so. Yeah.
So yeah, okay, interesting. So a bit of a nerf really on that. A tiny one, but a little bit of a nerf.
Well, the Dictator's got Aegis 5 up anyway, so it didn't need it.
Yeah,
Whereas the Arena Beast only had fortitude, so that would have benefited. But
okay. Yeah. Moving on to core, and the Vermin Velites are the same, haven't changed. The Vermin Legionnaires now have. There's a bit of a change.
Given shields for free, and then
they
pay. Well, they don't pay anything, but they can choose to be parry or spears, effectively.
Which is again a bit of a clear up because it actually works out exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you could either before choose shield or shield and spear for free. So this is basically get given the shield, and then you can either have your hand weapon or the spear. So
it's fine.
It works out.
Better way of presenting it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So otherwise, no change.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Fur veterans have the basically only one choice with the formations now.
Yeah, I think it was a good move because I don't think people really were switching quite as much as the designers intended. It was supposed to be quite a maneuverable thing where you would change it depending on what you needed. But I don't think people even really needed to change it. One was better than the other, and they stuck with it. So the phalanx is a much better rule. I think that's better.
So they've gone with that, and that's just part of their rule now. So no changing.
No.
Otherwise, they cost the same, and
they still will be taken in droves. So.
Yeah, they now work the same.
They're very good.
Speaking of taken in droves, Vermin Slaves, 5 points more expensive.
Cannon fodder is a good little rule, though.
Yes,
I like that.
So this has been added in. Shooting attacks against enemy units based contact with them gain +1 to hit. Now, does that affect their? Because is it the Callus or rule? What's the rule where you can shoot into them?
Well, that is Callus, yeah, and I think was it units that you were targeting? It was you were more likely to hit the enemy than you. So it used to be on a roll of without it being slaves on a roll of 4+, the hit is distributed on a randomly chosen friendly unit. Engage with them, but with this one on a roll of.
It'll still be on a 4+.
Oh no, that
part.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah, I had to get my head around it, but that's right.
Yeah. But right. And
without numbers gone, which was like I say, a funky thing that isn't needed really.
So so overall, I quite. They singled out that's what you use the slaves for, right? Tar pit and shoot them with the other stuff. So
exactly. So they've given them a bit of a buff because they've taken away their other quirky role.
For the nice price of 5 points.
Yeah, I like it.
Special. The Shadowfur Stalkers are the same.
Still broken.
Still broken. The book.
The whole book.
Plague Disciples. I'm just getting the thing. Is it a bit? Honestly, cheaper? They're not cheaper. Are they cheaper? Yeah. No, they're more expensive.
I've just been grumbling the last 3 sections. I don't actually know. They're more expensive. Yeah, they're 25. 15 points more.
They gain Fearless.
Yeah, and the Great Weapon actually costs points instead of one model for free.
Yes, so they have got quite a lot more expensive. The Great Weapon was the blade of choice with them. While joined by one or more characters with Eraman, they gain Swift Stride. Now, did they get that before? I don't think they did.
No, I think it's new.
No, so they now have Fearless as standard. And it used to be that you had to get a Swarm Priest.
With them.
But now a character with Cult of Vermin, they know it's Swift Stride to charge moves and stuff. So that's an interesting little mechanic added.
Maybe there weren't enough Plague Disciples out there.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the Black Furs were getting too much attention, so this has given them a bit of a boost.
Yeah.
While making them slightly more expensive.
But Only slightly, and well, I guess I say only slightly. It's at least 20 points in it with the great weapons.
I think Swift
35
Stride on an
points.
aggressive unit is a good move. So
Yeah. So no, it's good to see that changing a bit. The giant rats. What is this? Is
dire
just
rats are
taking
gone.
off an option. Yeah.
I think it's one of your things like they tried to make chaff interesting. At the end of the day, no one needs chaff to be interesting, so don't make it interesting.
Yeah. You're just wasting your complexity budget on
exactly. Yeah.
on that really. So yeah, Fetch Brutes stay the same, exactly the same. So do what they did best. Miller Brutes have had a slight change, and again, this is something that's come up before.
Yeah.
And we're recording at the same time, so I'm going to ask on this just in case I don't get an answer on the other video. The Miller Brutes have halberd, paired weapons, and shield, and before they had halberd and shield, which makes me think I'm right in the way we're thinking. But they don't have weapon master, which means presumably that means that they have to choose at the start of combat and stick with it until that combat is over.
Every round of combat, yeah.
Whereas weapon master provides you can choose at the start of each
round.
combat. Yeah. I haven't looked at the rules, and it's so easy I could just do that. But I'm going to put it to you, YouTube.
I would suggest that the rulebook weapon master needs just an extra one-liner saying that. I.e., if you've got weapon master, you can change it every round of combat. If you haven't got weapon master, then you have to stick with the same weapon for every round until the combat ends. But that's just me. I'm not writing these things.
Otherwise, they've actually got a bit cheaper as well. The rotary gun and deep fire thrower have got more expensive as options, but I
think that's because the rotary gun is a bit better. So
yeah, the unit prices are the same. Sorry, I've got cheaper rather. The legionary drill team is exactly the same. It's just got some rule changes added in terms of attached and exclusive rule book changes, I should say. The tunnel gunners, the ignifiers. Now I wanted to check this. Yeah, they have gone down in max models.
They are max 10, which is cool.
So max 5 to 10, which means you can have a maximum of 30 rather than 45, which
that's big.
Is a big change.
They are insanely good, though.
Yeah,
insanely good.
Saying that, they've got 30 points cheaper for a unit of 5.
I'm not happy about this whole book.
It's an interesting change. They're obviously they want to stop 45 of them on the board, but making them cheaper means.
Does that make them the same price?
What? No. They're much more expensive, and you can have more. So they are cheaper, and you're going to have less of them. But you're probably going to get 10 as opposed to. So it's now 5 to 10 rather than 8 to 15. I don't think you're going to see units of less than 10, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah, that's the reason they've got cheaper as a base cost, because you're getting 3 less to begin with. So it's not really a reduction in price. You're just getting 3 less to start with. So that's less. That's actually less outrageous than I thought originally. But
yeah. It is what it is. They're reducing them down somewhat in numbers, which they have plenty of. So that's a good thing, I think.
If you add the 3 models that they've taken away, it does go to a more expensive base cost, actually.
Yeah.
So, actually, they have gone up slightly. But still, they're good.
They are good. Experimental weapons have, on the whole, been made cheaper. Apart from the deep fire throw, it's gone 5 points more, but it's 5 points less for the unit entry. So that's exactly the same. Everything's got cheaper. Otherwise, Doomspark device. I think it was always happening that it's got a bit more expensive. It keeps going up every time. I think it started on about 3 points. So it's.
I see, God.
Yeah, right. So the Trial and Terror has been cleared up, as we mentioned before, but has got a lot more expensive. So, 25 points is a good start, I think. And we'll see how that changes, how many we actually see in lists. The Verminous Artillery has got slightly more expensive. And again, just clearing up the rules, really. There is the Rakitic mouse rifle has gained a +1 to its wounds, which is always handy. in that regard. And the catapult has gone from 4x4 to 5x5. So they've kind of been buffed in terms of the actual artillery that doesn't move, the war machines.
Yeah. What's interesting in the +1 wound thing, multiple wounds D3 +1, is in the changelog it calls it clipped wings.
Oh right.
This is actually, I think clipped wings is being phased into D3 +1.
Sure.
So that's a little bit of a hint into the future, maybe.
Yes.
But it's the same thing, so don't worry too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. We move on to serial and games. Stygian Earthbreaker is the same.
Oh no, 3D3 grind attacks instead of.
Oh yes, a nice
instead
thing.
of 2D3. So a little
even better.
Tip.
Even better.
Yeah.
So that's if you had him before, you're going to love that little change because that's pretty awesome, actually.
It makes grind attacks better than impact hits. So
yeah. The Dreadnought Chariots has got slightly more expensive, but they have gained 2 inches for a chariot, so that's pretty good from their point of view. I quite like this actually because it makes them feel more like a chariot.
Yeah, just quickly jumping back to the Stygian Earthbreaker.
Yes.
The grind attacks and the impact. Why would you ever choose to use the impact hits? If your grind attacks are better anyway, or do you have to use impact hits if you can? Like you almost don't
know.
Want to charge.
Yeah,
if you
I
have
don't
to
know
use your impact hits. That's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, it would make sense that they both.
If you have to use impact hits, then why would you ever charge it? Unless you can choose to not use impact hits.
I guess because you're only movement 6, and you've not got a high march, so you want to get him into something.
And I guess if it's underground arrival, then it's. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I know that I distracted.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Let us know again.
What do you think about that?
On the face of it, I do think you choose. So it is, or do you get both? Maybe you get both.
I didn't think you did, but yeah.
Let's
know. We'll let the viewers clarify that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you ever choose impact hits if it wasn't a thing?
You wouldn't. There's no reason to.
Yeah. So as we said, the Dreadnought Chariot becomes more like a chariot.
I was vaguely listening. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Arena Beast stays exactly the same.
Good.
Which takes us to the end of Vermin Swarms, and all the rage is gone. We've got it out of our system. And
some of us have.
Yeah. We thoroughly await excitedly the next time we come up against them.
The trouble is now that I have we've gone through phase 1. I now want to play Dread Elves, Vermin Swarm, Saurians.
Absolutely.
And I just don't have time. I don't want to act, they're too complicated.
They are.
But yeah, anyway.
I'll take them and we'll be the same complex level. But yes, that takes us to the end of that. Thank you very much if you stayed with us and got through to the end.
Phase 1 done.
Phase 1 done. That takes us to all of the phases. Again, we did all of the army books from phase 1 and the rule book, etc. So do go check them out. Like, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons that you need to do. They're all in front of you. They're one click away. Really, really do go do that. It really helps us out. And it will let you stay in touch for all of our stuff that we have upcoming, which is lots, it turns out. I don't know how.
Usually when there's a phase 1, there's more phases, and there are.
There are, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if it's just for the updates, do that because they'll be coming out very, very soon. We have Masters after Christmas, all the stuff leading up to Christmas, and all the breakthrough things as well. And of course, tournaments in the new year and new armies and all sorts of things. So do keep in touch. Do let us know whether you like this content. Let us know where we've gone completely wrong and missed stuff out. And
this is quite good because you're also getting a kind of mini review for books that we've never reviewed.
That's true.
So that's a nice little bonus.
Yeah.
Let us know if you like that.
I hope to say hopefully you like this format. But until next time, peeps.
Yeah. Phase 2 coming.
Phase 2 coming. See you later.